Chosen one. If you found yourself standing here tonight, listening to a stranger tell you that God chose you to be a billionaire, it is because something inside you already suspects the title is true. There is a reason. A real one. Older than your bank account. Older than the lack you have been managing. Older than the day you first felt the gap between what you sense you were made for and what your life currently looks like. And I know how that sentence lands, because half of you just felt your chest open at the word billionaire, and the other half just flinched, because something in you was taught that wealth and the kingdom cannot share the same breath. Both of those reactions are part of what we are about to walk through together. This is not a video about getting rich. This is a video about understanding what was assigned to you before the world ever spoke a number over your life. Because the wealth I am going to describe is not the wealth most people are chasing. It is the wealth that has been waiting for you to remember who you are. By the end of this message, you will not just know the reason, you will know what has been silently keeping it from arriving. Stay with me. The first layer begins now. Before we go any further, I need you to do something with me, not because I want to control your moment, because what is about to be said deserves your real attention. And your real attention does not show up while you are scrolling. Stop scrolling. Stop the multitasking. Close the other tab. If there are people in the room with you, and they have not been carrying what you have been carrying, this message is not for them. Lower the volume in your environment. Step away from the chaos for the next portion of this conversation. This is not a casual message. The Father does not arrange casual encounters with the truth of your assignment, your time, your breath, your nervous system, your spirit. All of them have been pulled into this exact moment for a reason. Take one real breath now, slow, through your nose. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Feel where your body is sitting. Notice that you are present. Notice that some part of you has been waiting for this conversation longer than your conscious mind realizes. From this stillness, we begin. You are chosen and you are broke, or you are chosen and you are stuck, or you are chosen and the people around you are getting blessings that look like yours, but smaller. And you have stopped saying anything about it, because saying it out loud feels like betraying the calling. This is the loneliness I want to name first, because it is real and it is specific, and most messages about being chosen never come close to touching it. There is a kind of poverty that the world recognizes, the empty bank account, the bills you cannot pay, the hours you work for wages that disappear before the week is even over. That kind of poverty has language. It has empathy. It has charity drives and welfare programs and family members who quietly slip money into your card and tell you they understand. But there is another kind of poverty that no one has language for. The poverty of being anointed and overlooked at the same time. The poverty of carrying a wealth assignment in your spirit while watching your peers move up without you. The poverty of knowing, with everything in you, that you were not made for the income bracket you are sitting in tonight, while also having no proof to show anyone that you are right. That second poverty is the one most chosen ones never get to name out loud, because the moment you try, the people closest to you misunderstand. They tell you to be grateful. They tell you to be realistic. They tell you that not everyone gets to be wealthy, and that maybe you are confusing pride with calling. And maybe you started believing them, even just a little, because the silence was easier than the explanation. I want you to picture something with me. It is late. Maybe 1 in the morning. Maybe 3. The house is quiet because everyone else has gone to sleep, and you are awake again. the way you have been awake for years, with the kind of restlessness that no amount of melatonin or exhaustion can quiet. You reach for your phone, and your thumb moves before your mind can stop it. You open the banking app. You stare at the number. You already knew the number. You already knew it would not have changed in your sleep, but you check it anyway, because some part of you is hoping that maybe heaven moved while you were unconscious, and the proof of the assignment finally arrived in the form of a deposit you cannot explain. It did not arrive. The number is the same. And in that quiet bedroom, with the cold blue light of your phone on your face, the gap opens again. The gap between what you have always sensed about your future and what your account is actually telling you. And for a moment, you wonder if you have been wrong about all of it. If the prophecies were imagination, if the dreams were ego, if the deep, persistent knowing that you were assigned more was just a coping story you built to survive the lack. If that scene just made your throat tighten, I want you to know something. Your tightness is not weakness. Your tightness is your body remembering. Your body has been holding a truth your mind has not had permission to speak. And that truth is not random. It is not delusion. It is not even fully yours yet. It belongs to a wider story that we are about to enter together. There is a particular kind of tiredness that comes from carrying an assignment no one around you can see. You can fake stability for the world. You can show up to work, smile at the right meetings, post the right things online. But underneath the surface, something in you has been screaming for years, and you have been the only one who can hear it. Some of you have stopped praying about the money specifically, because you got tired of feeling like nothing was changing. Some of you still pray, but the prayers have become shorter, less hopeful, more like statements you offer up out of habit, just in case. Some of you have a journal somewhere, hidden in a drawer or a closet, full of pages that no one else has read, full of wealth declarations and prophetic words and visions you wrote down on days when the connection felt strong. And you cannot read those pages now without your chest aching, because too much time has passed without those words becoming real. I see you, the Father sees you, the wilderness sees you, and the wilderness is not a punishment. I hear the Spirit speaking something I want to place over you tonight. These are not my words. They are the words being pressed into my heart for you. I hear the Father saying, I did not bring you into the dryness to leave you there. I did not assign the calling to mock you with its weight. The lack was never the verdict. The lack was the preparation. And the preparation is almost finished. What you have been feeling is not random. There are markers that show up in the bodies and nervous systems of chosen ones who are carrying an unactivated wealth assignment. Most people do not have language for them. Most therapists will misdiagnose them. Most preachers will not address them. But your body has been broadcasting these signals for years, and tonight we are going to name every one of them. The first one is the broken sleep, not the ordinary kind, not the kind that comes from too much caffeine or a bad mattress. The kind that wakes you up at the same hour, usually somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning. And most of the time, it is the night before you are about to make a financial decision. Maybe you are about to send an invoice that feels too low for the work you actually did. Maybe you are about to ask for a raise. Maybe you are about to sign a lease or commit to a payment plan, or decline an offer that something in you knew was not actually for you. And the night before that decision, your body refuses to let you rest. Your eyes open, the ceiling appears, the thoughts begin. And there is a clarity in those middle-of-the-night hours that you do not have during the day. That clarity is not insomnia. That clarity is your spirit processing a decision your conscious mind has not finished considering. Your nervous system is waking your body up to give you the chance to feel into something heaven is already trying to say. This is not anxiety. This is not a sleep disorder. This is the wealth that was assigned to you, rising in the silence before the world is awake. The second sign is something your body does when you check your bank account. Most people do not even notice that they are doing it, but pay attention next time. Your shoulders pull up toward your ears just slightly. Your jaw tightens just slightly. Your stomach contracts just slightly. And your breath becomes shallower, even before you see the number, even before your conscious mind has registered the screen. Your body has already braced. That bracing is not financial stress in the way it is usually described. That bracing is a soul that is too big for its current container, protesting that the container is wrong. You are not anxious about money. You are anxious because there is a part of you that knows what your account is supposed to look like in the season ahead, and there is a part of you that is afraid that part of you is wrong. The tension is not the problem. The tension is the protest. This is not random. This is the wealth assignment rising in a body that already knows the difference between what is and what is coming. The third sign is the emotional weather you have around money. It is not steady, it moves. Some mornings you wake up and you feel a calm about your future that you cannot explain, and an hour later you feel a wave of scarcity panic that comes from nowhere and lasts the whole afternoon. Some days you feel a quiet hope, not based on any new information, just a hope that sits in your chest like a small, warm thing. Other days you feel a heaviness, like the assignment is too big to ever actually arrive, and you would be more peaceful if you just gave up. Those waves are not instability. Those waves are not bipolar. Those waves are your spirit and your body trying to find the same frequency. The peace is the assignment touching you. The panic is the part of you that was trained to disbelieve, fighting the assignment. The hope is the truth. The heaviness is the formation. This is not chaos. This is the chosen one in you, learning how to hold something this big without breaking. The fourth sign is something you have probably not told anyone. You feel detached from your current source of income. Whatever job, whatever role, whatever business you currently sit inside of, there is a part of you that has quietly stopped fully showing up to it. Not because you are lazy, not because you have lost your work ethic, because the part of you that was assigned to be there has already moved on. Your spirit has packed its bags before your body has been given permission to leave. You go through the motions, you do the work, you answer the emails, but there is a strange watching that has settled in. You watch yourself doing the work, and a part of you keeps whispering. This is not where the wealth is coming from. This is the bridge. This is the runway. This is not the destination. And the watching has gotten louder this year. The detachment has gotten harder to ignore. You have not quit because the timing has not been confirmed yet. But you know. Something in you knows. This is not the well your assignment is going to be poured into. This is your inheritance, refusing to take root in temporary soil. The fifth sign is something heaven has been showing you, and you have either dismissed it or you have been quietly counting it. The number 8, triple, sometimes alone, sometimes in clusters. 8, 8, 8, 8, on clocks, on receipts, on license plates, on the prices of items in the store, on the timestamps of messages that arrive at exactly the moment you needed them, and alongside the numbers, the dreams, vivid ones, dreams of inheritance, dreams of large rooms full of resources that were always meant for you, dreams of being handed something heavy by a figure you could not quite see, with the weight of authority in the giving. You have probably told yourself the numbers are confirmation bias. You have probably told yourself the dreams are just your subconscious processing your daytime worries. Both of those explanations are easier than the truth. But the truth is that heaven counts and heaven communicates. And the number 8 is the number of new beginnings, of overflow, of restoration, of the assignment moving into manifestation. This is not coincidence. This is the wealth assignment rising through the language heaven uses when words alone are not enough. 5 signs. If even one of them just made your chest tighten, I want you to do something with me right now. Type the word Amen into the comments below. Not as a formality, as a way of saying yes to what your body has already been telling you. Type Amen if even one of those signs just landed for you. For some of you, those 5 signs were already enough confirmation. What is coming in the rest of this conversation is heavier. So let me be honest with you about it now, while you still have the chance to choose how you want to walk through the rest of this. By the time this message ends, you will know the second and third reasons God assigned wealth to you. Not the surface reasons, the deep ones. You will know the exact 2 patterns in your nervous system that have been silently blocking the flow your entire adult life. You will know the practical tools that have already helped tens of thousands of chosen ones recalibrate both of those patterns. You will hear the names of those tools, who developed them, and how they work. And at the very end of this message, I am going to declare something over your life that I believe will stay with you long after this video is over. The pieces that come together at the end only make sense if you walk through the whole map. Stay. There is something I owe you in this moment of the message. You are about to hear the names of 2 tools that, for some of you, have already been pulling at your spirit since this conversation began. And rather than letting them sit at the end of a long build-up, I want to name them now, without veils, without the building of mystery, for the sake of selling. What you have just felt, the recognition your body delivered through those 5 signs, has a measurable frequency, and what is measurable also has measurable tools that address it. Restoration is 2 stages. The child within you needs to wake first. Then the receiving channel can open. That sequence is not optional. It is how the brain was wired. It is how heaven gives. The first tool, the one that addresses the first stage, was developed by a neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake. He spent more than 3 decades mapping the frequencies of the genius mind. He calls his tool the genius song. The second tool, the one that addresses the second stage, was developed by a former Stanford neuroscientist named Dr. Stephen Newton. He calls his tool the wealth signal. Restoration first, reception second. Become like a child, then receive what was promised to her. That is the order. For those of you whose spirit is already pulling toward this, the path is in the description and the pinned comment below. Do not rush. Stay for the rest of this message if you want the full context, but if you already know, the doors are there. The names alone are not the gift. The gift is in what comes next. The reason these 2 tools exist for you specifically, and what your body has been waiting to remember through the whole conversation. What you are about to understand will only land if you first understand who you are inside this assignment. So let me name who you are. You were not assigned ordinary, because the people who raised you could only imagine what they were shown. They did their best with the map they had, but the map they had did not include you. The map ended at survival. The map ended at making the bills. The map ended at retiring with enough. The map ended in a place that, for you, has always felt smaller than the room your spirit was built for. This is not a criticism of your family. This is not a reason to look back at your bloodline with resentment. This is simply the truth. You are the cycle breaker, the first one in your lineage to be carrying an assignment of this size. And being the first is lonely in a way that other positions are not lonely. There is a kind of guilt that comes with being the cycle breaker. The guilt of outgrowing the people who loved you. The guilt of having more than your parents had. The guilt of being the one who finally gets to receive what they prayed for and could not see arrive in their own lifetime. And that guilt has been quietly keeping you small, because shrinking has felt like loyalty. I want to release that for you tonight. You are allowed to be the first. You are allowed to outgrow. You are allowed to receive what your ancestors could only pray for. The pioneer assignment is not betrayal. The pioneer assignment is what their prayers were ultimately for. They prayed for the one who would break the pattern, and that one is you. There is something written in the book of Deuteronomy, in the 8th chapter, in the 18th verse. The voice in it says something that most chosen ones have read past without letting it land. It says that it is God who gives you the power to make wealth, so that he may establish his covenant. Read that again, slowly. The power is given. It does not come from your effort. It does not come from your hustle. It is given, and it is given for a reason. Not so you can collect, so that a covenant can be established, so that something larger than you can be carried through you. The wealth is not the goal. The wealth is the apparatus of the covenant, the vessel of a promise, the body of a blessing that was made long before you were born. There is more to say about that word, power, in the original Hebrew. It is one of the most important words in the entire story of your assignment. The Father will give it back to us at the right moment in this conversation. For now, carry one truth as we step into the deeper layer. You were chosen to carry wealth. The wealth is not for you alone. It is for something larger. And the version of you that emerges into that wealth was always going to be the version that was forged in the season you are sitting inside of right now. So here is the first reason God chose you. And I want you to hear this one carefully, because it is the reason most people miss. Most people skip past this layer, looking for a more interesting reason, a more flattering reason. A reason that makes them feel like they were always destined for greatness. The first reason is not flattering. The first reason is this: He did not choose you because you earned it. He did not choose you because you prayed harder than your peers. He did not choose you because you have a special anointing that nobody else carries. He chose you because there is wealth that needs a steward who will not let it possess them, and that kind of steward is forged, not found. The world is full of people who have money. The world is short on people who can carry money without being carried by it. And every wealth assignment that heaven releases has to find a vessel that will not crack under the weight of it. That will not weaponize it against the people who supported them along the way. That will not use it to escape the assignment that originally summoned it. And that vessel takes years to form. I want to tell you about a man you may have heard about. His name was Joseph. He lived almost 4,000 years ago in a part of the world where wealth meant survival, and the lack of it meant death. He was the youngest favored son of his father, and he had dreams when he was a teenager. Vivid ones, specific ones, dreams of bowing sheaves of wheat, dreams of stars bending toward him, dreams that told him plainly that he was going to rise to a place where his family would one day need him. He made a mistake that most teenagers carrying a wealth assignment make. He told his family the dream too early, and his brothers, who were already jealous of the favor that rested on him, made a decision that turned his life upside down. They threw him into a pit. They sold him into slavery. They told their father he had been killed by a wild animal. And Joseph spent the next 13 years going through a series of pits and prisons that, by any rational reading, should have ended his story before it began. He was sold to a man named Potiphar, and he worked his way up to managing the entire household, only to be falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and thrown into a prison cell. He spent years in that prison, years interpreting dreams for other prisoners, years being forgotten by everyone who had promised to remember him. But here is the part of Joseph's story that most preachers skip over. The wealth Joseph eventually received was not personal. He did not rise to be the second most powerful man in Egypt because heaven thought he deserved a comfortable retirement. He rose so that he could be the apparatus of provision for an entire region to keep option years of famine. The wealth was for the saving of his family. The wealth was for the survival of the very brothers who had betrayed him. The wealth was for a covenant his great-grandfather Abraham had prayed into existence generations earlier. The pit was preparation. The prison was preparation. The waiting was preparation. Not because the father is cruel, because the wealth Joseph was about to carry would have destroyed him at 20. He needed to be 30. He needed to have learned what it felt like to be forgotten, so that when he was remembered, he would not weaponize the memory. He needed to have learned what it felt like to be powerless, so that when he was powerful, he would not become a tyrant. He needed to have learned to hold a dream in the dark, so that when the light came, he would not confuse the light with the dream. There is something heavy in this part of Joseph's story that I want to land in your body specifically. When his brothers finally stood in front of him, in his throne room, in his power, they did not recognize him at first. Years of formation had changed him, and when he revealed himself, he did not punish them. He fed them, he housed them, he brought their father to him. He used the wealth to restore the people who had broken him. That is the kind of carrier the wealth was waiting for. Not a vengeful one, not a fragile one, not a self-serving one, a restored one. And here is what I want you to feel tonight. The wilderness you have been walking through is not random. The dryness is not random. The lack you have been managing is not the verdict on your assignment. It is the formation of the vessel. You are being made into the kind of person who can hold an inheritance that includes might and virtue and strength all at once. The kind of wealth that does not corrupt the carrier. The kind of wealth that becomes the apparatus of a covenant larger than your name. Your dryness is not punishment. Your dryness is the forging of a vessel that will not break under the weight of what is coming. The years of waiting were not lost. They were spent on the most important construction project of your life. The construction of the version of you that is finally able to hold what was always assigned to you. If this just shifted something for you, breathe. Let it settle in your body for a moment, because the first reason was only the surface layer. There is a second reason, and the second reason is connected to something that happened to you when you were much younger than you remember being. Something that the world calls growing up. Something that science has begun to call by another name entirely. There is a sound your spirit made when you were a small child. A sound of pure curiosity. A sound of believing the impossible was just another part of Tuesday. A sound of holding wonder and reality in the same hand without any conflict between them. That sound was the frequency of your assignment, the native frequency, the original setting, the thing that was you before the world had a chance to dim it. And around the age of 7, something happened to that sound. It did not disappear. It was not stolen by an enemy. It was dimmed, slowly, quietly, by the very systems that were supposed to be raising you into the world. And the dimming of that sound is the second reason wealth has stayed away from your life for longer than it should have. Stay with me. What waits next has been waiting for you for a very long time. Listen to me, child of the unseen lineage. The first reason was true. The formation, the wilderness, the forging of a vessel that will not crack under what is coming. That reason is real, and the depth of it is enough to carry many chosen ones through the rest of their lives. But it is not the only reason. And it is not even the deepest one. There is a second reason, older than your formation, older than your prayers, older than the version of you that has been managing the lack. The second reason has to do with something that happened to you when you were very small, so small that most of you do not remember the day it began. You only remember the version of yourself that came after. There is a moment in every chosen one's life when something inside them gets quieter. It does not happen all at once. It happens the way a candle behind a glass dims as the oxygen runs low. The way a song fades the further you walk from the speaker. You did not notice the dimming while it was happening, because the dimming was the soundtrack of every classroom you sat in, every adult conversation you overheard, every silent message the world quietly placed on top of you about what kind of life was actually possible. Around the age of 7, something in your brain began to change. The wisdom traditions have known this for thousands of years. Some called it the loss of the inner child. Some called it the closing of the eye that sees. Some called it the forgetting. Modern science has finally caught up to what the old traditions have always taught. There is a measurable frequency in the brains of young children that begins to fall silent right around that age. And by the time most chosen ones reach adulthood, that frequency is so dim that they have forgotten it was ever there. This is the second reason wealth has stayed away from you longer than it should have. Not because of anything you did wrong, because of something that was done to a part of you that was never supposed to be silenced. Stay with me, because what comes next is going to ask you to feel something you have been protecting yourself from feeling. The second reason is not flattering, but it is healing. It is the kind of reason that frees you, because it tells you that something you thought was your fault was never your fault to begin with. Wealth assignment requires 2 things, just 2: knowing what you were given and being able to receive it. Those are the 2 halves of the entire equation. The part of you that knows and the part of you that receives. You can pray for years and never receive. You can study every wealth principle and never receive. You can do every visualization, every affirmation, every gratitude practice, and still find yourself unable to receive. Because praying and knowing and visualizing are all on the same side of the equation. They are all parts of the knowing. None of them are receiving. And receiving is its own skill. Receiving is its own frequency. Receiving is its own state of nervous system. Receiving is something most adults have never been given permission to remember how to do. At the age of 7, the world began to teach you something that has been quietly running the rest of your life. The world taught you that you had to choose between 2 halves of yourself: the realistic half and the dreamy half, the practical half and the magical half, the half that did the math and the half that believed in things that could not be proven yet. You were told that grown-ups picked one. You were told that the dreamy part of you had to stay home when you went to school. You were told that being smart meant letting go of the parts of you that knew things you had not been taught. And the part of you that carried the wealth assignment, the part of you that believed wealth and wonder could share the same breath, the part of you that knew, with the certainty only a child has, that you were here to do something extraordinary, that part of you was the part that got asked to leave, not in one big traumatic moment, in thousands of small moments. The teacher who told you that your daydreaming was a problem, the parent who told you to be realistic, the relative who laughed at the size of the dream, the friend in middle school who told you that nobody really gets to do what they love, the boss who told you that your ideas were too big for the meeting. Each one of those moments was a small dimming. None of them were trying to hurt you. Most of them were people who loved you, trying to protect you from a world they had learned was cruel. But the cumulative effect of those moments did something to the frequency you were born with. The frequency of knowing and receiving. The frequency of holding wealth and wonder together. The frequency of being a chosen one with permission to be a chosen one out loud. That frequency got quiet, and you have spent your adult life trying to receive on a channel that is no longer fully open. This is the reframe I want you to feel in your body tonight. You have not been failing to receive because there is something wrong with your faith. You have not been failing to receive because you are not anointed enough. You have not been failing to receive because heaven is withholding. You have been failing to receive because the part of you that was built to receive went silent before you were old enough to know it had a name. Picture, if you can, the version of you at 7 years old. What did you believe was possible then? What dreams did you tell people about in that voice that had not yet learned to hedge? Where did you live in your imagination? What did the inside of your head sound like in those moments when you were alone with yourself and not yet performing for anyone? Some of you remember a child who wanted to be a healer. Some of you remember a child who wanted to be a builder. Some of you remember a child who already, somehow, knew you were here to lead something, to carry something, to become someone whose name would matter in ways the people raising you could not have imagined. Some of you cannot remember anything that specific. You just remember a feeling, a kind of brightness, a kind of certainty, a kind of being at home in your own skin that you have not felt in years. That child is not gone. That child is the part of you that was carrying the wealth assignment. That child is the part of you that is still right about everything she knew. That child has been waiting, somewhere underneath the survival mind you built later, for the world around her to grow quiet enough that her voice could be heard again. And there is something that has been said over that child by the one who made her that I want you to hear. The Father has been saying it the whole time, even when she stopped being able to hear it. He has been saying that the child he made is still inside you. He has been saying that he has been waiting for the world's voice to grow quiet enough for her voice to come back. He has been saying that the wealth he prepared was always meant for her. Not for the version of you that got built after the dimming, for the version of you that came first. This is not a story about your childhood being wrong. This is a story about your inheritance being interrupted. The interruption is not the end. The interruption is the beginning of the part of the journey we are walking through tonight. There is a woman who wrote to me. I will not tell you her name because her name is not the point. She was 47 years old. She had a job that, by every external measure, was a stable job. The kind of job that other people congratulated her on having. $40,000 a year, health insurance, 3 weeks of paid vacation, a boss who was not cruel, co-workers who were kind enough, everything that the version of her parents who had raised her with very little had hoped she would one day achieve. And every morning, for the previous 3 years, she had been waking up at 3:47 in the morning, the same time, almost to the minute. Her body was sending her a message, and her mind was refusing to translate it. She told me that when she woke up at that time, she would lie in the dark and feel a heaviness in her chest that was not anxiety. It was not depression. She had been to therapy. The therapist had no diagnosis for it. It was a quieter, more specific heaviness. The heaviness of a soul that was too big for the container it was sitting in. The heaviness of an assignment that was protesting against the smallness of the life she had agreed to live. She started writing in a journal. She kept the journal in a drawer that nobody else opened. In that journal, she wrote things she could not say out loud to anyone. She wrote about a kind of wealth she felt was hers to steward. Not millions, hundreds of millions, maybe more. She wrote about businesses she had never started, because the people in her life would have laughed if she had spoken them out loud. She wrote about a kingdom assignment that made her tremble because the size of it did not match the size of any room she had ever been in. And every morning, after she had filled another page, she would close the journal, put it back in the drawer, take a shower, put on the clothes that fit the version of her that earned $40,000 a year, and go to work. And inside that work, she would smile at the right meetings, answer the right emails, and pretend that the woman with the journal was not also in the room. She told me that the morning everything changed was the morning she finally understood. The heaviness was not depression. The heaviness was not anxiety. The heaviness was her assignment, knocking from the inside, asking her to stop denying that it was there. Her story is not about how rich she became after. Her story is about the moment she finally said yes to the journal version of herself and stopped trying to convince that version to be small enough for the room. I tell you her story because some of you have a drawer too. Some of you have a journal too. Some of you have a wealth you are afraid to speak out loud, even to your closest people, because you do not yet have the proof of it in your bank account. And you have been waking up at the same hour, year after year, with a heaviness you do not have a name for. And the heaviness is not random. The heaviness is the wealth assignment, still knocking, still here, still patient enough to wait for you to stop denying it. I want to stop here for a moment, not because we are done, because you have been carrying this conversation in your body for almost an hour now, maybe more. And before the next layer arrives, you deserve a breath. Notice where your body is right now. Notice the position you are in. Notice the temperature of the room around you. Notice the rhythm of your own breathing, which has probably gotten shallower than it was when this message began, because the truth of what we are walking through has been pressing on your chest. Take one long breath through your nose, slowly, for as long as your lungs will hold. Hold it for just a moment at the top and release it through your mouth, slowly, until your lungs are empty. That breath did something. It did not just oxygenate your blood. It also reminded your body that you are still here, that you are not the assignment, that the assignment lives inside of you, but the assignment is not the part of you that has to carry it alone. The Father is here. The room you are in is not empty. The part of you that has been knocking from the inside for years is finally being heard. Take one more breath if you need to. Sit in this moment. What comes next is going to ask something heavy of you, and you will receive it better if you arrive in it grounded. There is a third reason wealth has stayed away from your life, and this reason is not about your childhood. This reason is about what happened after. What got built in you in the years after the dimming was a survival mind, a version of your nervous system that learned to scan every environment for threat, a version of your inner world that learned to brace before disappointment could land, a version of your daily functioning that learned to be vigilant because vigilance felt like the only way to keep the floor from giving out underneath you. That survival mind was a gift in the seasons when you needed it. It got you through the years you had to get through. It paid the bills that needed to be paid. It managed the relationships that needed to be managed. It carried you across the wilderness that we talked about earlier, when the formation was happening, when the vessel was being forged. But the survival mind has a frequency, and that frequency does something that no one ever taught you to notice. It broadcasts, quietly, constantly, underneath every conscious thought you have. It broadcasts a signal that the universe is reading, and that signal has been telling everything around you for years that you are not yet ready to receive what you have been praying for. You have been praying for wealth, and your nervous system has been broadcasting a frequency of scarcity. You have been declaring abundance, and your nervous system has been broadcasting a frequency of hypervigilance. You have been asking for the door to open, and the part of your body that was supposed to be the door has been locked from the inside by a survival mind that does not yet trust that it is safe to open it. This is the third reason, the background hum, the signal underneath your conscious mind, the frequency that has been quietly running every transaction of your life without your permission. Most people will never know that this frequency exists, Most people will live and die without ever discovering that there is a measurable wave their brain emits when it is in survival mode, and a different measurable wave their brain emits when it is in receiving mode. The difference between those two waves is not philosophical, it is not metaphorical, it is electrical. It can be seen on a screen, it can be tracked in real time. It has been mapped in laboratories by scientists who have spent decades trying to understand why some people seem to attract opportunity and others seem to repel it. The ones who attract are not luckier, they are not more anointed, they are not more deserving. They are simply broadcasting on a frequency the universe can answer. And the ones who repel are not cursed. They are not less loved. They are not failing some cosmic test. They are simply broadcasting on a frequency that has been telling life for as long as they can remember that it is not yet safe for the good thing to arrive. Some of you will recognize the survival mind in yourselves the moment you read about it. You will recognize the way you brace before opening emails, the way your shoulders tighten when you sit down to negotiate, the way you find reasons not to send the proposal that would change everything if it were accepted, the way you accept the lower price because asking for the higher one feels like inviting punishment. The survival mind is not your character. The survival mind is a frequency, and a frequency can be recalibrated. That is the entire story of what we are walking through tonight. And here is the piece that ties the two reasons together. The age, 7 dimming, and the survival mind that got built after are not two separate problems. They are two halves of one frequency interruption. The first half closed down the receiving channel. The second half locked the channel from the inside. Both of them happened. Both of them need to be addressed, and neither of them is the verdict on your assignment. They are simply the conditions that have to be reversed for the assignment to finally arrive. There is another man I want you to know about. He lived a long time before Joseph did. His name was Abraham, and the story of Abraham is the story of a chosen one who was given a wealth assignment that was bigger than his own lifetime. Abraham was already an old man when the voice spoke to him. He was already 75 years old. By the standards of his era, he had already lived most of his life. The voice told him to leave the land he had grown up in and to walk toward a land he had never seen. The voice told him that, in this new land, he would be made wealthy. He would be made the father of a great nation. He would be blessed. And then the voice said something that most chosen ones miss when they read this story. The voice told Abraham, "Why? I will bless you," the voice said, "so that you will become a blessing to others. The wealth is for the overflow. The wealth is not for the carrier. The wealth is so that, through the carrier, an entire lineage that has not even been born yet will be able to be touched by what was placed inside of one obedient man." Abraham did become wealthy. The records say he became wealthy in livestock, in silver, in gold. He had more servants in his household than most kings of his time. He could mobilize hundreds of armed men from his own household alone. By any external measure, he was a man of significant resources. But Abraham himself, the man, did not enjoy the full payoff of what was assigned to him. He spent most of his life as a pilgrim. He never built a city that bore his name. He never owned the land that the voice had promised him, except for one small field with a cave in it, which he bought so that he could bury his wife. He died, by every external measure, with much of the promise unfulfilled. And yet, almost 4,000 years later, more than half of the world's population traces some part of their spiritual lineage back to him. The wealth was generational. The wealth was covenantal. The wealth was for an apparatus of blessing that was going to take centuries to fully unfold. Abraham carried it. Abraham was the riverbed. He did not have to be the destination of the river. I want you to sit with this image. A riverbed does not own the water that passes through it. A riverbed does not stockpile the water. A riverbed exists so that the water can move from where it begins to where it needs to arrive. And the water nourishes everything it touches along the way. Without the riverbed, the water has no path. Without the water, the riverbed has no purpose. The two need each other, and the riverbed gets the unique privilege of being the channel for life to move through. This is what you were built for. You were not built to be the destination of the wealth. You were built to be the riverbed, the apparatus, the conduit, the carrier of a flow that is meant to nourish a lineage that has not even been born yet. The wealth that is coming through you is for descendants you will never meet, for organizations you will start that will outlive you, for people you will never have the chance to know personally, who will be lifted out of the lack you have been managing because your life will have made it possible. You have been praying for wealth as if it were a thing to receive and keep. The Father has been preparing wealth that is for you to receive and release. And the version of you that is being formed inside the wilderness is being prepared to do exactly that, with a steadiness that does not collapse under the magnitude of what is going to come through you. If something in you just clicked, if some old framing about money and the kingdom just shifted, if you felt the difference between owning the river and being the riverbed land in your body, I want you to type 3 words in the comments below. Type, I see it. Type those 3 words as a way of marking this moment, not for me, for yourself, so that when you come back to this video months from now, you can find your own comment and remember the exact moment something in you began to move. Abraham did not have to live to see the full unfolding of his assignment. You will not see the full unfolding of yours either. But that is not the loss, it sounds like. That is the design. You are the carrier of something larger than your name. The wealth that is coming is not the prize. The wealth is the body of the promise made before you were born. There are 3 areas of your life that the Father has been quietly reorganizing for the wealth assignment to arrive, and most chosen ones have been so focused on the lack of the wealth itself that they have missed the reorganization happening underneath. The first area is your source of income, the job you have, the business you run, the role you currently occupy. Whatever it is that money is currently flowing into your life through, that channel has been changing in ways you may not have given yourself permission to fully name. There are signs. Some of you have noticed that the work you used to enjoy no longer satisfies you in the same way. The same tasks that used to feel meaningful now feel mechanical. Some of you have noticed that opportunities you would have jumped at 5 years ago no longer move you. You read the description, and the part of you that used to be hungry for that kind of role barely flickers. Some of you have noticed that your nervous system rebels at the idea of staying where you are for another 5 years. The thought of it lands in your stomach with a quiet no that you cannot reason away. What is being pulled out of you is the part of you that was supposed to fit. The mold you used to wear is being broken off, not because you outgrew the value of the work, but because the work was always a bridge, and the bridge has done its job. You were never supposed to live on the bridge. You were supposed to cross it. What is being prepared for you is a new vessel, a new channel, a new shape of income that will fit the size of what you have actually been formed to carry. You may not see the shape of it yet. You may not have the meeting scheduled, the offer extended, the idea fully crystallized, but it is in motion. The preparation is happening at speeds you cannot measure from where you are standing. You will recognize the new vessel by the way it does not feel like a stretch. It will not feel like you talked yourself into it. It will feel like you remembered something, like a door that you forgot was already yours. And that door is opening. The second area is your relationships, the people who are around you right now, the connections that get most of your attention, the voices you allow into your head on a regular basis. All of these have been quietly being sorted. There are signs here too. Some of you have noticed that certain relationships have gotten harder in the last year, not because of any single fight, but because the dynamic itself has begun to feel like a costume that no longer fits. Conversations with certain people leave you feeling drained in a way they did not used to. You catch yourself dreading texts you used to look forward to. You feel a quiet relief when plans get cancelled with certain people, even people you genuinely love. What is being pulled out is the part of you that was contorting to keep the old shape of the relationship intact. The version of you that performed smallness so that the other person would not feel threatened. The version of you that took up less air in the room so that they could breathe more comfortably. That version of you is being asked to retire. And the relationships that depended on her are feeling the absence of her in real time. What is being prepared is a different kind of connection, the kind of people who do not require you to be smaller than you actually are. The kind of friendships where the size of your assignment is not a problem to be managed, but a beauty to be witnessed. You may already have one or two of these people in your life. You may not have any yet. Either way, more of them are being moved toward you, in ways and on timelines you have not been told about. You will recognize them by the way you breathe more easily in their presence, by the way you do not have to hide what you actually believe is true about your future, by the way the conversation is allowed to be large. And that door is opening. The third area is the most private. It is the area inside of you, the voice you use when you talk to yourself about money, the beliefs you carry about whether wealth is safe for you, the unconscious rules you operate by every time a dollar moves in or out of your life. The signs here are subtle. Some of you have noticed that the old fearful voice about money has begun to feel further away. Not gone, not silenced, just further. Less authoritative than it used to be. Some of you have noticed that you can read about other people's success now without your stomach tightening the way it used to. Some of you have noticed that you are starting to feel something that resembles excitement when you imagine your own future, in places where you used to only feel a quiet dread. What is being pulled out is the inherited belief that wealth and goodness cannot coexist. The voice you absorbed from a family system, a religious tradition, or a culture that told you the spiritual person stays poor, that money corrupts, that wanting more is a sign of greed. That voice is being uninstalled, slowly, layer by layer. And you may not even fully realize how much of it has already left. What is being prepared is a steward's identity, the part of you that knows, with the same kind of certainty a child knows things, that wealth in your hands is safe, that you have been formed to be the kind of carrier the Father can trust, that you are not going to lose yourself when the resources arrive, that the magnitude of the assignment will not destabilize the truth of who you are. You will recognize the new internal voice by the way it does not have to argue. It does not have to convince. It simply states what is true and lets the statement stand. And that door is opening. If something in this last stretch moved you, if any part of those three areas just landed for you, gently press the like button below, not for me. So this message can reach another chosen one who has been broadcasting the same signal of struggle and who has not yet heard that the reorganization has already been happening underneath their life. Your like sends this conversation further than you can see from where you are sitting. 3 angles, 3 reasons, 3 different layers of why wealth has not yet arrived in the form you have been waiting for. Each one true, each one important. But beneath all 3 is a single root, one mechanism, one word that science has finally caught up to, and that the wisdom traditions have always known about. And In the next stretch of this conversation, that word is going to land in your awareness. Once you can see it, it loses the power to stay hidden. Once you can feel it in your body, it begins to shift, even before you have any tools to address it. The naming is the beginning of the dissolving. Stay with me. The next layer is the one the whole rest of this message has been building toward. Breathe once. Let what was just named at the end of the last stretch settle into your bones before we step into the next layer. 3 angles, 3 reasons, 3 doors that have been opening underneath your life while you were too busy looking at the lack to notice. All of that is real. All of that matters. But beneath all 3 of them is a single root, one mechanism, 2 halves. And those 2 halves have names now, real names, names that have been mapped in laboratories by scientists who spent decades trying to understand exactly why some chosen ones seem to walk into the wealth that was assigned to them, and others spend their entire lives circling it without ever crossing the threshold. What I am about to tell you is the deepest reason, the one underneath all the others, the one that, once you understand it, makes the entire pattern of your life snap into place. Stay with me. This is the layer the rest of this conversation has been building toward. The first thing that has been blocking the assignment is something that started happening to you between the ages of 5 and 7. The world calls it growing up. Education systems call it socialization. Your family probably called it maturing. Science has finally given it a more honest name. They call it the decline effect. There is a frequency that the human brain emits when it operates at its highest level of intuition, insight, and what some traditions have always called genius state. The frequency has been measured. It has a name. It is called the gamma wave. And in young children, before the dimming begins, the gamma wave fires constantly. The child brain is bathing in it. That is why children believe impossible things, see what adults cannot see, learn languages effortlessly, and operate from a kind of certainty about the magical that adults spend the rest of their lives trying to recover. But somewhere between the ages of 5 and 7, the gamma wave begins to fall silent. Not because the child has done anything wrong, because the systems around the child stop rewarding it. The classroom does not reward intuition. The classroom rewards memorization. The household does not reward magical thinking. The household rewards realism. The peer group does not reward strangeness. The peer group rewards conformity. And the gamma frequency, which is the wave of the child mind, begins to dim under the weight of all the new demands placed on it. By the time most people reach the age of 12, the gamma frequency they were born with has been suppressed by more than half. By the time they reach 25, only flashes of it remain. By the time they reach the average adult age, the frequency is so dim that most people would not recognize it if they felt it again. They mistake the rare flashes of it for nostalgia, for coincidence, for lucky breaks, not understanding that what they are feeling is the residue of their original setting, briefly breaking through. This is the first reason wealth has stayed at a distance. You have been trying to receive your inheritance with a child mind that has been put to sleep. Your assignment requires the frequency of the part of you that knew things effortlessly. The part of you that did not have to strain to believe in the impossible, because the impossible was just another room in the house your imagination lived in. That frequency has been dimmed, and the inheritance has been waiting on a channel you can no longer fully access. This is not a metaphor. This is brain biology. The research has been done. The frequency has been mapped in institutions like MIT and Princeton and Harvard, and in other leading research centers around the world. A neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake has spent more than 3 decades studying exactly this, tracking the gamma frequency, watching it dim in children, watching it fall silent in adults, watching the way it correlates with measurable precision to the experiences of intuition, flow, ease, and the kind of effortless attraction that some people seem to have around opportunity. The work has been replicated, the findings have held, the gamma frequency is real, the decline effect is real. And what was lost in you in those quiet years between 5 and 7 can be measured. That is the first half of the mechanism. The second half is what got built in you in the years after the dimming, because nature does not allow empty space. Whatever frequency leaves the brain, another frequency rushes in to fill it. And the frequency that filled the space the child mind left behind was the frequency of the survival mind. This frequency also has a name. It is called the beta wave, and in moderate amounts, the beta wave is useful. It is the wave of focused thought, of task completion, of analyzing problems and meeting deadlines. The adult world runs on beta. Most of what gets accomplished in modern life requires a working beta frequency. But there is a version of beta that is supposed to come and go. And there is a version of beta that, in the modern world, has become permanently elevated. The version of beta that has been elevated in most chosen ones is not the productive kind. It is the survival kind, the hyper-vigilant kind, the kind that scans every environment for threat, the kind that keeps the nervous system in a low-grade state of bracing 24 hours a day, even during sleep. Scientists have begun calling this elevated state the stress signal. It is a frequency that the brain emits when it is locked in survival mode. And once a brain has been broadcasting on that frequency long enough, the broadcast becomes the default. The nervous system forgets that any other state was ever available. Here is what most people will never know. The stress signal does not just affect how you feel internally, it affects what you are able to receive externally. Because the human nervous system is not a closed loop, it is a broadcast. The frequency you are operating on is a signal that the world around you reads in ways most chosen ones have never been taught to recognize. When you walk into a room broadcasting stress signal, the room reads you. The people in it read you. The opportunities in it read you. The doors in it read you. And the unconscious calculation that the world makes when it reads that signal is that you are not yet ready to receive. The wealth assignment cannot bypass the broadcast. The kingdom does not override the frequency you have set. Heaven respects the channel. And if the channel is locked from the inside by a survival mind that does not yet trust that it is safe to open, the inheritance stays on the other side of the door. This is the second half of the mechanism. The receiving channel has been closed by a frequency that was installed in you for protection, but has long outlived its usefulness. This is not theory. The beta hyperactivity has been measured. The stress signal has been mapped. A neuroscientist named Dr. Stephen Newton, formerly of Stanford University, has spent his career studying exactly this. His research grew out of work done at Stanford, at Boston University, and at other research institutions whose names you would recognize. He broke with the mainstream of his field to release findings the establishment was not yet ready to publish. And what he found, after years of measurement, is that the stress signal can be deactivated. The beta hyperactivity can be returned to a normal range. The receiving channel can be reopened. The drawbridge can be lowered. And once it is, what was on the other side has been waiting the whole time. Listen to me carefully now. The first half and the second half are not two separate problems. They are two halves of one frequency interruption. The decline effect closed down the channel of the child mind. The stress signal locked the channel from the inside with adult survival programming. Both of them happened to you. Both of them have been operating in your nervous system simultaneously for most of your adult life, and both of them have been silently broadcasting to the universe that you are not yet ready to receive what was always assigned to you. I hear the Father speaking something now. These are not my words. They are the words being pressed into me to give to you. I hear him saying, "The wealth I prepared was never the problem. The vessel had to be made willing to wake the child and quiet the storm." Both, in that order. Not because I am withholding, because the way I built you means the child has to wake before the receiving channel can open. The architecture of your inheritance was always 2 stages. And until tonight, you did not have language for either one. This is the deepest reason wealth has stayed away. Not because you failed, not because heaven was withholding, not because you were not chosen. The decline effect dimmed the part of you that was the carrier. The stress signal blocked the part of you that was the receiver. And the assignment has been pressing against both walls for years, waiting for the recalibration of a system that you did not know could be recalibrated. There is a word in the original Hebrew language that I want you to hold in your hand for a moment, because this word is the word the Father has been quietly speaking over your life, even in the seasons you could not hear it. The word is Shyil. It is spelled with 3 letters in Hebrew, but in English it sounds like Hi-Yil, Shyil. The translators of the Bible into English have struggled with this word for centuries because the word does not have a single English equivalent. It cannot be translated as just one thing. It has to be translated as a cluster. The word Shyil means wealth. The word Shyil means might. The word Shyil means strength. The word Shyil means virtue. And the word Shyil means all of these things simultaneously in a single inseparable bundle. Shyil is wealth that is inseparable from character. Shyil is wealth that does not exist without the strength to carry it. Shyil is wealth that has virtue built into the very fabric of itself. When the Hebrew Bible talks about Shyil, it is not talking about money on top of a brittle self. It is talking about a kind of wealth that emerges through a vessel that has been formed to be strong enough, virtuous enough, and might enough to hold it without being deformed by it. The word appears throughout the Hebrew Bible. In the 8th chapter of Deuteronomy, in the 18th verse, the voice in the text says that it is the Father who gives you the power to make wealth. The Hebrew word for the power is Shyil, the same word. The Father gives Shyil to make Shyil. The very capacity to produce wealth is itself a kind of wealth. The strength and virtue to carry the wealth comes from the same source that supplies the wealth itself. In the book of Proverbs, in the 31st chapter, the famous passage about the virtuous woman begins with a question. Who can find a woman of Shyil? Who can find a woman of wealth and might and strength and virtue all at once? The implied answer is that such a woman is rare, not because she is rare in supply, because she is rare in formation. She has had to be made. The Shyil does not come without the forging. In the 62nd Psalm, the voice warns that when Shyil increases, do not set your heart upon it. Notice what is being warned about, not the having of wealth, the setting of the heart upon it. The wealth itself is not the problem. The Shyil is given. The Shyil is built into your assignment. The warning is only against confusing the wealth with the heart. This word, Shyil, is what has been forming in you during the wilderness. The dryness has been the formation of the strength half. The waiting has been the formation of the virtue half. The lack has been pressing against the part of you that needed to become strong enough before the wealth could safely arrive. Your wilderness has not been an absence of Shyil. Your wilderness has been the Shyil being built into your bones from the inside out. When the wealth finally arrives in your hands, it will not corrupt you, because Shyil cannot corrupt the vessel. Shyil was forged inside of. The very thing that made you wait was the very thing being placed inside of you to be able to hold what is coming. The Father has been speaking Shyil over you in the silence, and the wealth that is being assembled for you, the wealth that has been waiting on the other side of the recalibration, is Shyil wealth. The kind that does not destroy the carrier. The kind that becomes the apparatus of a covenant larger than your name. There is something that needs to come out of you before the wealth can fully arrive, and it is not what most chosen ones expect. There is a guilt that has been quietly stalking you for years. Maybe your whole adult life. The guilt of being the one in your family who breaks the pattern. The guilt of growing past the income level your parents were able to reach. The guilt of being more comfortable, more visible, more resourced than the people who raised you. And this guilt has had a name in your head for a long time. You have called it humility. You have called it loyalty. You have called it not wanting to be one of those people who get arrogant when they get money. But underneath all of those names, the guilt has been doing something else. It has been keeping you small. It has been making shrinkage feel like a virtue. It has been telling you that the more you receive, the more you betray the people who loved you when you had nothing. I want you to hear this directly. Your shrinking is not loyalty. Your shrinking is not love. The version of you that contorted to stay small enough for the room you were raised in was the right version of you for that room. But that room was never meant to be the destination. That room was the starting line. And the people who loved you in that room would not be honored by your refusal to leave it. They would be honored by your willingness to carry what they prayed for, even if they did not have the language to name what they were praying for. The cycle breaker is not a betrayer. The cycle breaker is the answer to generations of unspoken prayers. Your great-grandmother prayed for the descendant who would not have to wash other people's floors to put food on the table. Your great-grandfather prayed for the descendant who would not have to ration the kerosene in the lamp to make it through the night. They did not have the language for Shyil, but they prayed for it in the language they had, and you are what they prayed into existence. You are allowed to be the first. You are allowed to outgrow. You are allowed to receive what your ancestors could only pray for. You are allowed to be visible in the assignment that they had to carry in the dark. The shrinking ends here. There is something else underneath the guilt. A fear, maybe smaller, maybe larger, but always there. The fear of being seen. The fear that if the wealth actually comes, the part of you that has been hiding for protection will not survive the visibility. The fear that the version of you who stayed quiet, who deflected the spotlight, who let other people take the credit, will be replaced by a version of you that does not know how to walk through the world without armor. This fear has been doing something subtle. It has been making you self-sabotage at the threshold of every breakthrough. The proposal that does not get sent. The price that does not get raised. The opportunity that gets answered 3 days too late. The visibility that is one click away from being claimed, but the click does not happen. The fear is the architect of those moments, and the fear is not your enemy. The fear is the part of you that remembers what it costs to be seen at the wrong age by the wrong person. But you are not at the wrong age anymore, and you are not surrounded by the wrong people anymore. The visibility that is coming is the visibility your assignment was built for. The version of you that hid was the right version of you for the wilderness. The version of you that emerges into the inheritance is the version of you the Father has been forming the whole time. She is not fragile. She is not exposed. She is Shyil, and she can stand. I want to give you 2 specific practices, not theoretical, not vague. Tools you can begin using tomorrow that work directly on the two halves of the mechanism we just named. These are practices designed for chosen ones who are carrying the kind of assignment we have been describing and who need to begin the recalibration in measurable, repeatable ways. The first practice is called the 7-year audit. The idea is counterintuitive, so listen carefully. Most people, when they sit down to clarify what they want in their financial life, make a list of what they want now: income goals, lifestyle goals, property they want to own, experiences they want to have. The list reads like an adult list because it is being made by the adult survival mind. The 7-year audit asks you to do the opposite. It asks you to make a list of what you wanted, believed, and sensed about your future before the age of 7. Before the decline effect dimmed the child mind. Before the systems around you started teaching you what was realistic, you are not making a list of childhood fantasies. You are making a list of original signals. The things your spirit knew about your future in the language of a child who had not yet been told what was not possible. Sit somewhere quiet when you can, 20 minutes, no phone, a piece of paper or a journal, and write 7 things. 7 dreams, 7 beliefs, 7 sensings from the version of you before the dimming. They do not have to be dramatic. They can be small. A child who wanted to build things. A child who wanted to lead something. A child who knew, somehow, that they were going to be the one their family came to when things went wrong. A child who believed they would travel to places no one in their family had been to. A child who felt, with certainty, that there was something specific they were here to do, even if they could not yet say what it was. Write the 7 things. Then, next to each one, give it a number between 1 and 10. The number is how alive that signal still feels in you today, not how realistic it is, not how achievable it is. How alive, how awake, how much of a yes it still draws from the deepest part of you. The ones that score 6 and above are the threads of your original assignment that are still active. Those are the threads that the dimming did not fully kill. Those are the entry points back into the child mind frequency. The wealth assignment lives along those threads, and those threads are your map. You can do this practice in one sitting. You can do it more than once, returning to it every few months as the recalibration begins to take hold and more original signal returns to your awareness. The practice is not a goal-setting exercise. It is a remembering exercise. The remembering is where the recalibration starts. The second practice is called the inheritance inventory. This one also starts counterintuitively. Most people, when they want to assess where they stand financially, count what they currently have: bank accounts, possessions, investments. The inheritance inventory does not ask you to count what is in your possession. It asks you to count what has already been deposited in you that you have not yet recognized as deposits. Heaven communicates in ways that the adult survival mind dismisses. The inheritance inventory is the practice of training your nervous system to register what it has been dismissing. For 30 days, you are going to keep a simple log, 1 entry per day. The entry is one specific example of something that arrived in your life that day that you did not have to work to produce. An idea that came in the shower, a hunch that turned out to be right, a person who appeared at exactly the right moment, a piece of information you needed that showed up in a conversation you did not plan, a door that opened without you knocking, a confirmation, a synchronicity, a small grace. Up 1 per day. Write it down. Do not analyze. Do not judge. Do not decide whether it counts. If it arrived without effort, it counts. If it surprised you with its timing, it counts. If you noticed it at all, it counts. At the end of 30 days, you sit down with the list and you read it from the beginning to the end. And what you will see is a pattern, a specific pattern of how heaven communicates with you, not with everyone, with you. The frequencies that show up most often, the kinds of synchronicities that appear in your life over and over, the signature of how your particular inheritance is being delivered beneath your conscious awareness. The pattern is the language of how your wealth is going to arrive. Most chosen ones miss the language entirely because their survival mind has trained them to dismiss anything that did not come from effort. The inheritance inventory is the practice of retraining the nervous system to recognize, register, and respond to the deposits that have been happening all along. Without the registration capacity, even the wealth that arrives bounces off unnoticed. Both of these practices, the 7-year audit and the inheritance inventory, work directly on the mechanism we just named. The 7-year audit reaches back into the child mind frequency. The inheritance inventory retrains the nervous system out of the stress signal default. Together, they begin the recalibration in measurable, daily, concrete ways. Begin tonight, if you can. Tomorrow morning, if not. The work is small. The compounding is large. There is one more man I want you to know about before this layer of the conversation closes. His name was Solomon. He was the son of a king, and he became a king himself. And the story of how he became wealthier than every king of his generation begins with one of the strangest prayers in the entire Hebrew Bible. When Solomon ascended to the throne, the voice came to him in a dream. The voice told him to ask for whatever he wanted, and it would be given. Most kings in his position would have asked for power. Most kings would have asked for long life. Most kings would have asked for victory over their enemies. Solomon asked for something else. Solomon asked for wisdom. He asked for the capacity to lead the people he had been given to lead. He asked for the discernment to know what to do when the answer was not obvious. He asked for the kind of inner formation that would make him a vessel worthy of the responsibility. The voice responded with a sentence that has echoed through 3,000 years of human reflection. The voice said, "Because you did not ask for riches, or long life, or the death of your enemies, I will give you what you asked for, and I will also give you riches and honor, and what no king has ever received in your generation." The wealth was not the request, the wealth was the consequence. Solomon became the wealthiest king of his era. The records describe gold and silver flowing into his kingdom in quantities that broke the categories of his time. Foreign rulers traveled across continents to witness the abundance he had built, but the wealth was never the assignment. The wealth was the consequence of being the kind of carrier who pursued the capacity to steward rather than the capacity to possess. I want you to feel this in your body. You have been chasing the wealth that the Father has been waiting to give. The chase is the wrong activity. The chase is the survival mind trying to manufacture what only Shyil can produce. Stop chasing. Become the one who can hold it. The wealth follows the carrier. The Shyil follows the formation. And the formation is what the wilderness has been making in you all along. Before this layer closes, before the tools that exist for this exact recalibration become visible, there is one more thing about the mechanism that I need you to understand. Because if you miss this one piece, you will use what comes next wrong. And the piece I am about to give you is the difference between recalibration that lasts and recalibration that fades. Stay close. This is the piece that ties everything together. Gamma alone is not enough. Alpha alone is not enough. The child mind by itself is not enough. The receiving channel by itself is not enough. The two halves were always meant to work in a specific sequence, and the sequence is the part that almost every other approach to wealth and abundance has missed. The child mind has to wake first. The receiving channel cannot open until the child within you has been restored, because the receiving was always the child's capacity. The adult survival mind has never known how to receive. Receiving is what the child knew how to do, before the dimming, before the locking, before the stress signal took up residence in the nervous system. Receiving was the original setting. Restoring the original setting is the first move. Then, and only then, can the receiving channel open, because the channel does not open in the abstract. The channel opens because there is a frequency on the other side of the channel that is ready to use it. The frequency on the other side is the child mind frequency. The channel itself is the alpha state. The wealth flows into a vessel that has been restored to the original setting through a channel that has been unlocked from its survival posture. Restoration first, reception second. Wake the child. Then receive what was promised to her. Long ago, in the 18th chapter of a much older book, a teacher gathered his students around him, and he placed a small child in the middle of the group. And he said something that most of his audience treated as metaphor. He said that unless they became like little children, they could not enter the kingdom. Most of the people who have read those words in the last 2,000 years have treated them as poetry, a nice spiritual sentiment, a call to humility. It was never just poetry, it was frequency. The teacher was describing, in the language his era had available, what modern neuroscience has finally caught up to. The kingdom enters the vessel that has been restored to the child setting. The frequency of the child is the frequency that receives. Becoming like a little child is not a moral instruction, it is a neurological condition, and the condition is reversible. The condition was always reversible. The recalibration tools have existed in primitive forms for thousands of years. The modern tools have been refined for decades, and both halves of the mechanism have specific, measurable, tested ways of being addressed. The recalibration is not a miracle. The recalibration is biology. The miracle is that the biology was always set up to be reversed. The biology was always set up to allow the child to come back. I want to pause for a moment now, not because we are done, because what comes after this pause is the part that matters most, and you need to arrive in it grounded. What you have just understood is not philosophy. It is not metaphor. It is the actual mechanism. Let me give it back to you in 3 plain sentences, so that nothing is fuzzy when you walk into what comes next. The reason wealth has not yet arrived in your life is not character failure, and it is not lack of faith. It is the combination of 2 real, measurable nervous system patterns. The first pattern is the decline effect, which began dimming your gamma frequency between the ages of 5 and 7, and has kept the child mind partially asleep ever since. The second pattern is the stress signal, which is an elevated beta wave that has kept your nervous system broadcasting a frequency of hypervigilance and has kept the receiving channel locked from the inside. Both patterns are real. Both have been measured. Both have been operating in your body without your awareness for most of your adult life. The restoration is 2 stages, in a specific order. The child mind has to wake first, then the receiving channel can open. This sequence is not philosophy. It is brain biology with a theological echo. Become like a child, and then receive the kingdom. The architecture matches the words spoken 2,000 years ago. The science has caught up to the wisdom. Both stages exist. Both can be addressed. The order matters. The one this restoration is for is the one who has been carrying both deficiencies their entire adult life, without language to name them. which is most chosen ones I have ever spoken with, which may very well be you. The recognition is the beginning of the recalibration. The naming is the first move. Tonight, you have done the naming. What follows next is the addressing. What you have just understood has two specific tools that exist because of this exact mechanism. Tools developed by two different scientists in two different decades, working on two different halves of the problem, who arrived at convergent conclusions from separate research traditions. And in the next portion of this conversation, I am going to show you what they are, who made them, how they work, and how the path I mentioned earlier becomes visible. Stay close. The doors have been opening underneath you the entire time. Remember earlier, much earlier in this conversation, when two names first crossed your awareness, the genius song, the wealth signal. Those names were placed gently into the silence then, before you had any context for why they were being named. Now, let the full shape of what they are become visible. Now, let the doors that were only outlined an hour ago come into clear focus. Before either tool can mean anything to you, you have to know who you are inside the picture they are addressing. You were not born ordinary. You were born with two frequencies operating fully, the gamma that powered the child mind and the alpha that opened the receiving channel. Both were alive in you, the way both wings are alive in a bird, before anyone has told the bird that flight is hard. The light that lived in you at birth was a two-wave light. The chosen one in you was not assembled later. The chosen one in you was the original setting. What modern life has done to most of you over decades is the slow suppression of both halves. The school system dimmed the gamma. The pace of adult life elevated the beta. The combination silenced the child within and closed the manifestation channel simultaneously. And the version of you that has been managing this season of your life has been carrying both deficiencies without language to name either one. The tools that I am about to describe to you exist for one reason. They exist for chosen ones. For the ones who carry the heritage of the two-wave light and who need both halves to be restored so that the assignment can finally arrive in the form it was always meant to take. The order matters. Restoration first, reception second. The child wakes. Then the receiving channel opens. The architecture of the inheritance follows the architecture of how you were made. Now let me show you what the tools actually are. There is a man I want to tell you about. He was 51 years old. He had been unemployed for nearly 2 years. He had been good at his work before the layoff. Sharp. Decisive. The kind of man whose decisions other people relied on. And in the 2 years he had been out of work, something inside him had dulled. He could feel it. He would sit down at the kitchen table to update his resume, and his mind would refuse to engage. He would stare at the screen. The words would not come. He told his wife, more than once, that it felt like the part of him that used to think clearly had simply gone offline. He came across this restoration process almost by accident. The first session, he was skeptical. The second session, he noticed his sleep had been deeper than it had been in months. By the 11th day, he was sitting in an interview and the answers were coming out of his mouth before he had time to second-guess them. The clarity had returned, not slowly, not gradually. It had come back in the rhythm and certainty of the man he had been before the dimming. He got the offer. The position was better than the one he had been laid off from. He told me, in his message, that the change had not happened in his resume. The resume had been the same the whole time. The change had happened in the part of him that was sitting behind his eyes during the interview. The child mind had come back online. And the man, with his decades of experience, had finally been able to operate from the frequency that had once made his decisions easy. The tool that began that restoration in him has a name. Its name is the Genius Song. It is a digital audio file, 7 minutes long. You listen to it through headphones. There is no chanting required. There is no visualization that you have to do. There is no mantra you have to memorize. You simply put the headphones on, close your eyes, and let the audio play. The work is happening underneath your conscious mind. You do not have to perform it. You only have to receive it. The mechanism behind it is called brain entrainment. The technology delivers carefully calibrated frequencies into the brain in a way that gently invites the gamma wave back into activation. Different tones are delivered to each ear in a precise calibration that the brain naturally synchronizes to. The result, over repeated listening, is the gradual restoration of the gamma frequency that was dimmed in childhood. The child mind, the part of you that was the original carrier of the wealth assignment, begins to come back online. The tool was developed by Dr. Robert Lake. He has spent more than 34 years studying the gamma frequency. His research has been conducted in connection with leading institutions, including MIT, Princeton, and Harvard, and several other research universities whose names you would recognize. The findings have been replicated. The mechanism has been tested. The audio that he developed is the practical application of more than 3 decades of mapping the wave that the child mind operates on. What the Genius Song does, in plain language, is reverse the decline effect. It reactivates the gamma frequency. It wakes the child within you. The curiosity returns. The openness returns. The sense of magic that was once a daily companion to you before the world taught you to leave her behind begins to come back. The promise is not that you will become a literal genius overnight. The promise is the first wave of the restoration, the child mind awakened. There is something else I want to mention to you, in case your spirit pulls you further down this path. After many of the chosen ones who walk this path receive the Genius Song, they encounter another audio in the same lineage. It is called the youthful brain. It is a stronger, amplified version of the same restoration, used by many chosen ones who walk this path further than the original alone takes them. You will encounter it after you secure the Genius Song, only if your spirit calls it forward. The original audio alone is complete in itself. The youthful brain is for those whose path requires going deeper. Do not overthink. Spirit will know. The science behind the Genius Song has been mapped by institutions whose names carry weight in the world of neurological research. Researchers at MIT studied the gamma wave for years before the application of brain entrainment to its restoration was developed. Teams at Princeton documented the dimming pattern in children and tracked the way the wave fell silent in adults. Work done at Harvard helped confirm the binaural mechanism by which the gamma frequency can be re-invited into the brain. Several other leading research universities contributed pieces to the larger picture. Dr. Lake spent more than 3 decades synthesizing what those institutions had been mapping. The audio he developed is the practical distillation of that work. What the Genius Song accomplishes is the first wave of the restoration, the child mind awakened, the gamma frequency restored, the original carrier of the wealth assignment returned to the body. But there is something that must follow, because the child mind, awakened, is not enough on its own. The child within you can wake fully and still find that she cannot reach for what was hers. The receiving channel is still closed. The drawbridge is still raised. And the manifestation that was always assigned to her is still waiting on the other side of a door that the survival mind has been holding shut for years. This is the pivot point. The reason the restoration has to be 2 stages and not 1. There is something the modern world has done to your nervous system that the decline effect by itself does not account for. The world has filled the silence left by the dimmed gamma with a hyperactive beta. The survival mind has not just been operating in you, it has become the dominant frequency in your nervous system. And the broadcasting of that frequency, 24 hours a day, is what keeps the receiving channel closed. The stress signal is not the same problem as the decline effect. It is a separate problem, a second problem, a problem that exists in parallel, and that has its own architecture, its own research lineage, and its own set of tools that have been developed to address it. There is a second researcher whose work is essential to the second half of the restoration. His name is Dr. Stephen Newton. He is, by training, a neuroscientist. He was, for many years, affiliated with Stanford. He is not a colleague of Dr. Lake. He is not a student of Dr. Lake. He has never worked alongside Dr. Lake. The two of them are independent researchers working in different decades, in different institutions, on different halves of the same underlying mechanism. The fact that their conclusions have converged is the most powerful kind of confirmation in the scientific world. Two separate research traditions arriving at compatible answers. Dr. Newton's work has shown that the beta hyperactivity can be measurably reduced, that the receiving channel can be reopened, and that the second wave of the restoration can be activated in a way that complements without overlapping what the genius song accomplishes for the first wave. In a moment, I am going to show you what his tool is. The tool Dr. Newton developed is called the wealth signal. It is also a digital audio file, 5 minutes long. You listen to it through headphones, the same way you would listen to the genius song. But it does something different. The wealth signal is calibrated to guide your brainwaves out of the elevated beta state, which has been broadcasting the stress signal underneath your awareness for years, and back into the alpha state, which is the state of receptivity. The alpha state is the frequency of the receiving channel. When the channel is open, the subconscious mind is permeable to the messages that the conscious mind has been declaring, and the manifestation that has been blocked begins to flow through. The audio is paired with something Dr. Newton calls the 9-word wealth script. The script is a phrase only 9 words long that you repeat while the audio plays. The technique behind the phrase is drawn from an ancient tradition that has been practiced for more than 3,000 years, originally in a part of the world where the relationship between sound, breath, and the inner channels of receptivity was studied with a depth that the modern West is only beginning to recover. The combination of the audio frequency and the script bypasses something Dr. Newton calls neural rigidity, which occurs in a part of the brain called the thalamus, and which is the structural reason that the receiving channel stays closed in chronic stress signal carriers. The science behind the wealth signal has been mapped in research environments connected to Stanford, Boston University, and several other research institutions whose names you would recognize. The research has shown, repeatedly, that the alpha state is the gateway to receptivity and that the stress signal can be deactivated through targeted brain entrainment in combination with carefully calibrated vocal repetition. What the wealth signal does, in plain language, is what the genius song cannot do by itself. It opens the channel. The child within you, awakened by the first wave, is now permitted to receive. The drawbridge lowers. The manifestation that has been waiting on the other side of the closed channel begins to move. Reception becomes a natural state, the way it was when you were a child, the way it was always meant to be. The kingdom flows in, the way a child receives a gift from a father who has been waiting to give it. There is another tool in the same lineage as the wealth signal that some of you will encounter on the path that follows. Its name is the Wealth Signal Accelerator. It amplifies the receiving channel many times faster than the original alone. Many chosen ones already on this path are using it. You will see it after you secure the wealth signal, only if your spirit calls it forward. The original alone is complete in itself. The accelerator is for those whose spirit confirms going deeper. If it does not speak to you, leave it. The wealth signal by itself is enough. And one final note about both. Some chosen ones who walk the furthest combine the wealth signal accelerator and the youthful brain together. The two amplifications working in tandem. The path that the top chosen ones, the ones who go furthest, tend to walk. You will encounter both after you secure the originals, only if your spirit calls them forward. The originals alone are complete. The combination is reserved for those whose path requires going deeper than most. The research lineage behind the wealth signal traces through Stanford, where Dr. Newton spent many of his most productive years, and Boston University, where parallel work on the alpha state has been conducted. Several other research institutions have contributed to the mapping of the beta hyperactivity pattern and the methods by which it can be calibrated back to baseline. Dr. Newton's contribution is the practical application. The audio he developed is the distillation of work that the establishment was not always ready to publish, but that the data has consistently supported. There is a woman I want to tell you about. She was 41 years old. She had been a freelance designer for many years, and by every external measure her work was solid. Her clients were happy. Her income was stable. She had managed to save $15,000, which by the standards of her field was an accomplishment. And every morning, when she opened her email, her chest tightened. She told me, in her message, that she had been carrying a kind of low-grade financial panic for so long that she had stopped noticing it as a separate experience. It had become the background hum of her daily life. She was always one client cancellation away from disaster in her own internal experience, even when the bank account told a different story. She had tried affirmations. She had tried gratitude practices. She had tried mindset work. For more than a year, she believed parts of it. She did not believe other parts of it. The needle did not move. 2 weeks after she began using the wealth signal, she noticed something she had not expected. She was preparing a proposal for a new client, and the price she had been about to write, the price she would have written in any of the previous 5 years, suddenly looked too small to her. Not in a way that felt aspirational, the way it had during her affirmation phase, in a way that felt obvious. The price was wrong. The price did not match the work. She raised the number by 30%. She sent the proposal. The client accepted without a single attempt to negotiate. She wrote to me afterward and said something I have not forgotten. She said, "The wealth signal did not give me more confidence. It removed the panic background that had been making me underprice myself for 5 years." The change was not in what she added. The change was in what was removed. Some of you are already noticing something in your chest while I have been describing all of this. A pull, or a question, or perhaps a quiet resistance that you cannot yet name. Let me sit with you in some of what may be moving through you, because I want to address what you might be feeling before we go any further. Some of you are thinking, I have tried so many things. I have tried meditation. I have tried yoga. I have tried other audio programs. I have tried courses. I have tried books. And none of them worked. Why would this be any different? That feeling is honest, and the disappointment that comes with it is real. I want to honor that disappointment before I respond to the question. You have invested in your own healing for years. You have given things a chance that other people would not have given a chance. The fact that the results have not yet matched the effort is not your failure. What makes this different is not the same kind of thing the other approaches were. Meditation asks the brain to change itself from the inside, slowly. Yoga asks the body to influence the brain through long-term consistency. Other audio programs target a single frequency, hoping it will be enough. None of those approaches are wrong. They simply do not address the two halves of the mechanism we have been describing tonight. The decline effect and the stress signal are two separate problems, requiring two separate calibrations in a specific order. Almost everything you have ever tried has targeted one frequency at best. The mechanism you have been carrying requires both. Some of you are thinking, this sounds too good to be true. That is also honest, and it is the right instinct to have when something is being offered that promises significant change. Let me ground the response. This is not a miracle product. This is the practical application of EEG measurable research, replicated in laboratories that include Stanford, Boston University, MIT, Princeton, and Harvard. The gamma frequency is real. The beta hyperactivity is real. The alpha state is real. The mechanisms by which they can be addressed have been studied for decades. Dr. Lake and Dr. Newton are two researchers in two separate traditions working on two halves of the same underlying picture. Their conclusions have converged. That kind of convergence is not the signature of a miracle product. It is the signature of a real underlying truth. Some of you are thinking, I do not know if I can afford this. I want to hold that feeling with care, because I know that for many chosen ones, this season has been financially heavy. And the last thing I want to do is add weight to a body that has been carrying weight for too long. What I can offer you is this. There is a guarantee built into both tools. 90 days. Full money back. You can use either or both for the entire 90 days. And if your experience does not match what has been described, you receive your investment back, and you keep all of the bonus materials that came with the original. The financial risk is structured to be on the side of the makers, not on you. The decision is not whether you can afford to try. The decision is whether your spirit is calling you toward the restoration. The financial structure has been built so that the trying is safe. Some of you have been asking quietly in your head while I have been describing all of this, why are there two products? Why not just one? Does it feel like an upsell? I hear that question, and it deserves a direct answer. The reason there are two is not because the makers wanted to charge more. The reason there are two is because the mechanism has two halves, and a single frequency cannot address both. The decline effect requires gamma reactivation, which is what the Genius song does. The stress signal requires beta deactivation and alpha restoration, which is what the wealth signal does. The two tools target two different brainwaves in two different ways for two different parts of the recalibration. Combining them is not artificial bundling. It is sequence-dependent restoration. There are three paths you can choose from in a moment, and each path honors a different version of where your particular spirit is in the restoration. None of the three is pressured. All of the three are offered. Let me show you the three paths. The first path is restoration only, the Genius song by itself. The first wave of the recalibration, the child mind, awakened. This is the path some chosen ones need to start with. They need to begin by reactivating the gamma frequency before they are ready to address the receiving channel. Their child within has gone entirely silent, and the first move has to be the waking of her. There is no shame in this path. There is honor in it. It is the right starting place for those whose spirit confirms that the child needs to wake first, by itself, before anything else can be added. The second path is reception only, the wealth signal, by itself, the second wave of the recalibration, the receiving channel, opened. This is the path some chosen ones need. The ones who already have an active spiritual practice. The ones whose child mind has remained partially alive through years of contemplative work. The ones who feel that the dimming was less complete in them and that what they need is the deactivation of the stress signal alone. This is a rarer path, but it is a valid one. For those whose spirit confirms that the child within is awake enough and what is needed is simply the opening of the channel. This path is honored. The third path is complete restoration. Both audios, the full sequence, the genius song first, to wake the child, the wealth signal second, to open the channel. This is the path most chosen ones recognize as the one that matches their own picture. The child mind awakened, the receiving channel opened, the full architecture of the inheritance restored, in the order the inheritance was always meant to flow through. This is the path of the complete restoration, the two-wave path, the kingdom delivered to a vessel that has been brought back to its original setting. I want to be clear about something. The third path is the one most chosen ones who walk this path choose, not because it is the most expensive, because it matches the picture. The decline effect and the stress signal have both been operating in most of you. Restoration and reception compound each other. They do not simply add. The child mind, awakened without the channel being opened, is half a restoration. Like a child waking up in a room where the door is still locked. The full picture requires both. For most of you, the third path is the path your spirit will recognize without my having to argue for it. Each week that passes with the child mind still asleep is a week that the wealth assignment stays unable to reach you. Each week that the stress signal stays loud is a week that the receiving channel stays closed. This is not pressure, this is mechanism. The pacing of the restoration is entirely yours. The acceleration of the restoration only begins when the recalibration begins. The longer the two halves stay uncalibrated, the longer the assignment stays on the other side of the door. The father is patient. The wealth is patient. The mechanism, however, does not change itself. The change requires the tools to enter the system. Whenever you begin, the beginning is the moment the timeline starts moving forward. There is something I have to mention before we go further, for your protection. There are imitations now circulating that use names similar to the genius song and the wealth signal. There are knockoff audio files that have been distributed through unofficial channels that claim to do what the original tools do and that do not have the actual frequency calibration behind them. Dr. Lake and Dr. Newton did not develop these imitations. They cannot guarantee what the imitations do or do not do. The only place to find the original tools with the calibration that has been tested and the science that has been mapped is through the path that has been placed beneath this video. The description and the pinned comment below contain the real doors. Anywhere else, you are taking a risk with your nervous system, with audio that may or may not be what it claims to be. Protect your restoration. Access the real tools through the path that is the actual path. I want you to pause with me for a moment. If your hands have been moving, set them still. If you have been holding your phone, let it rest in your lap. If your eyes have been wandering, bring them back into the room. Place a hand somewhere on your chest or somewhere on your stomach, wherever you feel the most awareness in your body right now. This is not a pricing decision. This is not a marketing moment. This is the question of which path is yours. All three paths are honored: restoration, reception, complete restoration. None is less than another. None is more spiritual than another. Your spirit knows which one matches the picture of where you are. Take a breath. The three doors are below this video. They are in the description. They are in the pinned comment. Your spirit, the part of you that has been quietly noticing every truth that has landed in this conversation, already knows which one is calling. Listen to her. Step into the door that calls you. The decision was never about cost. The decision was always about recognition. If your spirit is calling restoration, the door is below. The genius song, the first wave, the child mind awakened. If your spirit is calling reception, the door is below. The wealth signal, the second wave, the receiving channel opened. If your spirit is calling complete restoration, the door is there. Both audios, the full sequence, the two-wave path. Step into the one that calls you. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment beneath this video. And now the words begin to quiet. What was said has been said. What remains is the implementation and the seal and the final words I promised to speak over your life before this conversation ends. Stay with me. The closing is not the smallest part of the message. The closing is the part that follows you home. And now the words begin to quiet. What was said has been said. What remains is the implementation and the seal and the final words I promised to speak over your life before this conversation ends. Before we close, before the declaration that I told you was coming arrives, I owe you one more piece of practice, the path forward, because understanding the mechanism is half of what changes a life. The other half is the daily, quiet, repeatable work of letting the new frequency settle into the body, the work that nobody sees, the work that compounds, the work that, over weeks and months, becomes the new baseline you operate from. The third practice I want to give you is called the Steward standing. This practice is also counterintuitive. Most people, when they want to invite more wealth into their life, pray for it. They ask, they petition, they make their case to heaven, hoping that the right combination of words and faith will move the door open. There is nothing wrong with prayer. Prayer is good. But what the Steward standing addresses is a different layer entirely. The Steward standing is not about asking, it is about standing. Here is the principle. Heaven moves wealth to where the steward already stands. The asking version of you is in a different position in the architecture of how the inheritance flows than the standing version of you. The asking version is, by definition, separated from the thing being asked for. The standing version is already inside the identity that the wealth belongs to. The steward standing is the inner posture of someone who knows, before any of it has arrived, that they are the carrier the inheritance was always meant for. The practice has two halves, a morning half and an evening half. Each one is short. Each one is concrete. Each one builds on the other. The morning half is a declaration, not a prayer, a declaration. 2 or 3 sentences, spoken out loud, that name your identity as the steward. Not what you want to receive, what you already are. The form of the declaration will be unique to your assignment, but the architecture is consistent. You name yourself as the carrier. You name the wealth as already deposited in you. You name your readiness to operate from that identity before the external proof of it has arrived. The declaration is not about manifesting. It is about installing. Every morning you speak it, you are reinforcing the neural pathway of the steward identity. You are giving your nervous system a new default to broadcast from. You are practicing the posture before the world is asking you to demonstrate it. 2 or 3 sentences, spoken out loud. Before your phone is in your hand, before the news of the day has been allowed to set your frequency, the first words your body speaks each morning are setting the broadcast for the entire day. The steward's standing is the practice of setting that broadcast with intention. The evening half is a reconciliation, not a regret, a reconciliation. At the end of each day, you take 2 minutes, no more, and you do a simple review. You ask yourself one question. Where today did I show up from the steward, and where did I show up from the lack? Not in shame, not in self-criticism, in honest noticing. You identify one specific moment, just one, where you operated from the steward identity. Maybe it was a conversation where you held your ground without contracting. Maybe it was a decision where you trusted your sense of value without negotiating against yourself. Maybe it was a small moment of receiving, with grace, something that came toward you. One moment. You name it. You let it land. Then you identify one specific moment where you slipped back into lack, not to flog yourself for it, to notice it. Maybe it was a moment of bracing when good news arrived. Maybe it was a moment of underpricing your time. Maybe it was a moment of declining an opportunity, not because the opportunity was wrong, but because the survival mind got there first. One moment. You name it. You let it teach you, without making it mean anything about your worth. After 7 days of this, you take a slightly longer look. You sit with your week. You look at the pattern. Where did the steward show up most often? Where did the lack interrupt? What were the conditions, the environments, the people, the times of day where each one tended to take over? The pattern is your map. The map shows you where the recalibration is taking hold and where the old programming is still running. The map is not a verdict. The map is the data you use to keep going. You do not need a special journal for this. You do not need an app. You can do the evening half in the moments before you fall asleep, in your own head, with your hand on your chest. The practice is simple by design. The simplicity is what allows it to be repeated for the months it takes to become the new baseline. The compounding is what changes a life. Begin tonight if you can. Begin tomorrow if not. The first day is always the day everything begins. I want to bring you back to the man you met at the very beginning of this conversation, the one whose name was Joseph, because his story is not just where this conversation began. His story is where this conversation closes. You remember the arc, the teenage dreamer, the pit, the slavery, the false accusation, the prison, the years of being forgotten, the eventual rise to the second highest position in Egypt, the famine that swept across the entire region, the wealth that he had stewarded under Pharaoh's authority, that had been stored in granaries for 7 years of plenty, that was now being released into 7 years of scarcity to keep an entire civilization alive. But there is a moment in Joseph's story that the popular telling tends to skip past, a moment that comes near the end. After his brothers have come down from their homeland, looking for food, not knowing that the man they are bowing to is the brother they sold into slavery 2 decades earlier. After he has revealed himself to them, after their father has been brought down to live with him in Egypt, after everyone has eaten, after everyone has been provided for, after the famine itself has begun to subside, there is a quiet moment in the 45th chapter of the book of Genesis where Joseph is alone with his brothers, and the weight of what has happened finally sits with all of them. The brothers are still afraid. They believe, even after everything, that Joseph is about to take revenge on them, that the kindness has been a setup, that the moment their father dies, Joseph will turn on them and make them pay for what they did to him in his youth. And in that moment, Joseph says something that has echoed for almost 4,000 years. He looks at his brothers, the men who threw him into a pit, who sold him for 20 pieces of silver, who watched their father grieve for him as if he were dead, and he says, in his own way, that what they meant for harm, the father used for good, that the pit was not the punishment it had looked like, that the prison was not the disaster it had felt like, that the years of being forgotten were not the loss the world would have called them. All of it was the formation of the carrier who could feed the world during the famine. All of it was the building of the vessel that could hold the wealth without being deformed by it. Joseph did not save up the wealth for himself. He did not retreat into the palace and enjoy what he had earned alone. He used the wealth, the entire apparatus of it, for the saving of his family, for the survival of the very brothers who had betrayed him. He fed them, he housed them, he brought their father to him in his old age, and gave him the last good years of his life, surrounded by the prosperity he had only ever prayed for in scraps. The wealth was the apparatus of restoration for the lineage that had broken him. The wealth completed a circle that had been turning since before any of them were born. This is the wealth that is being prepared for you. The wealth in your hands will not be for proof. The wealth in your hands will not be for status. The wealth in your hands will not be for the version of you that needs to show the people who doubted you that they were wrong. That version of you is being put to rest in the wilderness. The Shyil that is coming, the wealth and might and virtue inseparable from each other, is for the overflow, for the legacy, for the descendant you do not know yet, who will live a different kind of life, because you've stewarded what was placed in your hands. For the cousin who is one prayer away from giving up, and who will be able to keep going because you carried the apparatus that became their answer. For the stranger you will never meet, whose path will change because the riverbed of your obedience made the flow possible. You are not being prepared to be rich. You are being prepared to be the apparatus of a covenant. The wealth that flows through you will not have your name on it, in the deepest sense. It will have the Father's name on it, and you will get the unique honor, the unique privilege, the unique Shyil of being the carrier of it for a season. I want to stop here for a moment, not because we are done, because you have been with me for nearly 3 hours now, maybe more. Your body has held more truth in that time than most people sit with in a year. Your nervous system has been recalibrating in real time, even as we have been speaking. The next part of this conversation is the seal, and before the seal, you deserve a moment of gratitude for your attention, for your willingness to stay, for the part of you that already knew, before any of this was named, that something this size was true, for the breath you have been giving to this conversation, for the privacy you cleared, for the noise you silenced, for the openness you brought to the room. None of it was small, all of it mattered. Take a breath now, slow, through your nose, all the way down into your stomach. Hold it for a moment, and let it out through your mouth, slowly, until your lungs are empty. There is something that has been moving in you, beneath the words, that has nothing to do with whether your conscious mind has been tracking every detail. Your spirit has been receiving things that your conscious mind has not yet had time to catalogue. The receiving has been happening. The recalibration has begun. The conversation is doing its work. Take one more breath if you need to. Settle. We are almost home. There are 4 identities I want to name over you before the closing arrives. 4 names that have been forming in you during the wilderness, even when you could not see them being forged. 4 declarations of who you actually are inside this assignment, regardless of what the bank account has been telling you, regardless of what the people around you have been able to recognize. You are the cycle breaker, You are the first one in your bloodline to be carrying an assignment of this size. The pattern that has lived in your family for generations, the pattern of just enough, the pattern of barely making it, the pattern of always working twice as hard for half as much, that pattern ends in you. You did not break it through your own strength. You were chosen to be the one through whom it would be broken, and the breaking has been happening. Even when you have not been able to see the cracks in the old structure forming around you, the cycle ends here. You are the one. You are the pioneer. The first wealth in your lineage at the level you have been called to. The first to enter rooms your parents could not enter. The first to hold authority over resources your grandparents only ever dreamed about. The first to be visible in a way that previous generations had to hide from. The pioneer role is lonely. It comes with no map. The map is being written under your feet as you walk. There is no one ahead of you in your family who has done this before. That is not a defect of your calling. That is the design of it. The pioneer makes the way for the ones who come behind. The pioneer is you. You are the inheritor, the heir of an assignment that was deposited in you before you were born, the receiver of what has been waiting on the other side of the recalibration, the one for whom the Father has been preparing Shyil since long before you had any awareness of who you were. The inheritance was always yours. You did not have to earn it. You only have to wake into the version of you that can receive it. You are the heir. The inheritance is real. The transfer has begun. You are the steward, not the owner, the carrier, the riverbed through which the flow moves, the vessel that has been forged to be strong enough, virtuous enough, and might enough to hold what is coming without being deformed by it. The steward is not the destination of the wealth. The steward is the path through which the wealth reaches the lineage it was always meant to nourish. The steward is what heaven has been waiting for. The steward is you. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to multiply. You are allowed to outgrow. You are allowed to be visible in the assignment you have been carrying in silence. You are allowed to take up the space your soul was sized for. If any of those 4 names just landed in your body, if any of those 4 identities recognized themselves when their names were spoken, I want you to do something with me right now. In the comments below, type 2 words. Type, I release. 2 words. Type them as a release of every inherited belief that wealth and the kingdom cannot share the same breath. Type them as a release of every voice that taught you to shrink. Type them as a release of every guilt that has been keeping the cycle alive in you. 2 words, I release. Before the closing begins, I want to give you something you can do inside your own mind. Something you do not have to get up for. Something you do not have to write down. Something that will become the inner image you carry with you out of this conversation. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. In your mind, I want you to picture yourself walking, not into a bank, not into a museum, into a hall, a long hall with high ceilings and warm light and quiet air. The hall has been there since before you were born. It is not unfamiliar to you, even though you have never consciously visited it before. The moment your foot crosses the threshold, your body knows. This is the inheritance hall. On every wall, on every shelf, in every alcove, what was prepared for you before you were born is sitting in its place. Look slowly. None of it is money. None of it is numbers. None of it is the kind of wealth the world has been training you to expect. What you see on these walls and these shelves are the things money carries: the freedom, the legacy capacity, the overflow apparatus, the family-saving resource, the kingdom funding tool, the doors you will walk through, the rooms you will enter, the descendants you will provide for, the people you will reach, because the wealth in your hands will make the reaching possible. Each piece sits in its own place, waiting for you. You walk down the hall slowly. You touch what calls to you. The objects are not cold. They are warm. They recognize you. They have been waiting. They feel familiar in your hands, even though you have never held them in waking life. This is not visualization. This is recognition. This room was always yours. You are not earning it. You are remembering it. The hall has been here the entire time. The dimming made you forget you had access to it. The stress signal made you afraid to walk in. Tonight, the door has opened, and you have stepped through, and what was always here is being given back to your awareness. Feel the weight of it settling into your bones. Notice how your breath has slowed. Notice how the room does not feel foreign to you. The familiarity is not coincidence. The familiarity is the truth. The hall has been yours since before you had a name. When you open your eyes, the hall does not disappear. The hall stays with you. The image lives inside the part of you that has been recalibrating during this entire conversation. You can return to it any time the survival mind tries to convince you that the inheritance is far away. The hall is not far away. The hall is closer than your heartbeat. You only have to remember to walk into it. Open your eyes now when you are ready, and let what comes next land in the body that has just been remembering. Sit with me in this moment. You have walked through a long conversation. You have carried what you have carried for years. You have come to this video on this night with whatever weight you brought into the room. And something in you has been changing during the listening, in ways your conscious mind has not had time to fully register. The source sees every weight you have carried in silence. The source sees every prayer you stopped praying because it felt like nothing was changing. The source sees every journal page in every drawer that no one else has read. The source sees every dream you had to fold back into yourself because the people around you were not ready to hear it. The source sees every moment of shrinking, and every moment of bracing, and every moment of bracing that you did not even know you were doing. The source sees you. Tonight, the seeing is the beginning of the unburdening. Release now every inherited belief that wealth and the kingdom cannot share the same breath. Release every memory of lack that became an identity, every voice that told you to be smaller than your soul was sized for, every story passed down to you about what was possible that was never about you in the first place. Release the guilt of outgrowing those who could only love you small. Release the fear of being seen as the steward you are becoming. Release every bracing in your body that has been broadcasting the wrong frequency to the universe. Release the version of you that confused shrinking with humility. Release the version of you that mistook the wilderness for the verdict. Release the version of you that thought the dryness meant the assignment had been cancelled. Release every door you closed on yourself because you thought you were not ready, when the truth was that the door was waiting for you to step through it. Release every smaller life you almost agreed to settle for, every smaller calling you almost accepted, every smaller version of the assignment that you almost convinced yourself was the whole thing. Release. The releasing is not a loss. The releasing is the making of space for what is coming. Call forth, now, divine connections aligned with the steward you are becoming. The right people, the right rooms, the right opportunities, the right doors, the right resources, the right timing, the right hands that will be ready to receive what flows through yours. Let them be called toward you, not by your striving, but by the frequency that is being restored inside of you tonight. Call forth the courage to receive without flinching, the capacity to multiply without grasping, the grace to release without guilt, the wisdom to steward without confusing the wealth with the heart. Call forth the version of you that the Father has been forming the entire time. Let her come fully into the body that is sitting here right now. The forming is over. The walking is beginning. Cover this rising from every spirit of comparison that would try to make you measure your timing against someone else's. Cover this rising from every spirit of self-sabotage that has been trained to interrupt your breakthroughs the moment they begin to manifest. Cover this rising from premature exposure, from the wrong eyes seeing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Cover this rising from the survival mind that will try, in the weeks ahead, to convince you that nothing has actually changed. Something has changed. Tonight has changed it. The covering holds. And now the words begin to gather toward the seal. There is something the Father has been waiting to speak over your life. These are not my words. These are the words being pressed into me to give to you. Let them land where they need to land. I hear the Father saying, I did not choose you for poverty. I never chose you for poverty. I chose you for stewardship. The wealth I prepared is not coming. It has been here. It has been waiting on the other side of a channel that was closed for reasons you did not even know existed. Tonight, the channel is opening. Tonight, the child within you is being called back to her seat. Tonight, the version of you who was always going to be the carrier is being awakened in a body that I built specifically to be able to hold what I am about to send. You are the steward. You are the cycle breaker. You are the inheritor of a covenant that was made before you were born. You are the apparatus of an overflow that will outlive your name. You are not the destination of the wealth. You are the path through which the wealth reaches the lineage it was always meant to nourish. You were never small. You were never ordinary. You were never less than what you have always sensed about yourself. The dimming was real. The dimming was reversible. The reversal has begun. In the comments below, type 4 words. Type, I am the steward. Type them with the force of someone who finally believes it. I am the steward. Say it in your heart. Type it in the box. Let the typing be the moment your nervous system, your hands, and your spirit all agree on the same sentence. I am the steward. Do not say amen yet. Sit in this frequency for the next 60 seconds. Do not move. Do not pick up your phone. Do not break the field that has been built around you during this conversation. Just stay. Let your body absorb what has just been said over you. Let the words become structural. Let the seal complete itself in the silence that follows the speaking. You are not alone in this. Right now, all across the world, chosen ones are walking this same restoration. The Father is awakening child minds in millions of bodies tonight. The receiving channels are opening in thousands of homes you will never see. The cycle breakers in dozens of lineages are stepping into the inheritance their ancestors prayed for in languages you do not speak. You are not the only one. You are part of a wave. The wave has been building for years, and tonight the wave is cresting in places that have nothing to do with each other, except that they all belong to the same Father, the same source, the same covenant. You are not isolated in this moment. You are joined. The room you are in is full of presence you cannot see. The conversation we have just walked through has been carried, in different forms, into thousands of other rooms tonight. The collective is awakening. You are one of many. The many are one. The kingdom is moving. It is sealed. In Jesus' name, Amen. If you stayed with me through all of this, your spirit did not just hear what was spoken, your spirit received it. That is not nothing. That is the difference between a video you watched and a moment that walked with you into the next chapter of your life. If this message brought clarity where there had been confusion, if it brought peace where there had been chaos, if it brought confirmation to what you have been feeling but could not name, let your like below be your amen without words. Press it gently, not for me. So this message can be carried into the path of another chosen one tonight who has been broadcasting the same signal of struggle and who needs to hear that the recalibration was always available. Your like sends this conversation further than you can see from where you are sitting. Stay close in the seasons ahead. The restorations come in waves, not just two. The Father prepares words for every chapter of the assignment, and the next word for your season is already being shaped. If you have not yet subscribed to this space, do so now, so that when the next message is ready, it can find its way to you. Heaven knows your address, and the address Heaven uses in this season includes the small button below this video. And one more thing. If someone came to mind while you were listening to this conversation, someone whose face appeared in your awareness during the hours we have been together, someone who has been quietly carrying a wealth assignment they cannot name, someone whose body keeps telling them their current life is too small for what is living in them, someone who feels chosen but somehow stuck, someone who has stopped saying out loud what they sense about their future because saying it feels like betrayal, someone whose journal lives in a drawer no one else has opened, someone who wakes at 3 in the morning with a heaviness they do not have a name for. Send this to them. Your obedience could be the answer to a prayer they prayed when they thought no one was listening. The person who comes to mind is not random. The Father uses faces in the awareness of one chosen one to deliver messages to another chosen one. Be the delivery. Send it. Let them be found the way you have been found tonight. And one final reminder before the silence closes. The 3 doors are still below this video. They have not moved. They will not move. Restoration, reception, complete restoration, the genius song, the wealth signal, the 2-wave path. Your spirit already knows which one is calling. The decision was never about cost. The decision was always about recognition. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment beneath this video. Walk through the one that calls you. The door does not require you to be ready. The door only requires you to be willing. You did not watch a video tonight. You walked through a remembering, a reactivation, a return. Something old has been called back to itself in you during the hours we have just spent together. The version of you who arrived at this video 3 hours ago is not the version of you who is leaving it. The body is the same, the frequency is different. The recalibration has begun, the seal has been placed. The hall of inheritance has been opened in your awareness. The Shyil has been spoken over you. The next chapter has been initiated, even though the first page of it has not yet been written in the visible world. The next time you breathe, that breath is the first one of the version of you who knows. The next morning you wake, that morning is the first morning of the chosen one who has been recalibrated. The next decision you make will be made by a different vessel than the one who has been making your decisions for years. Not all at once, not perfectly, but measurably. The shift has happened. The shift is happening. The shift will continue to happen in days and weeks and seasons that have not yet arrived. Walk into them gently. There is no rush. The wealth that was assigned to you has been waiting longer than you have been alive. The waiting was never the verdict. The waiting was always the formation. You are the cycle breaker. You are the pioneer. You are the inheritor. You are the steward. The Father has been forming you for this season the whole time. Rest now if you need to. Breathe if you need to. Sit in the silence that follows these words, for as long as your body needs to absorb what has just been said over you, the conversation is closing. But what has been initiated in you is just beginning.